Hello and good morning. Holly Shields here, live from 𝐕𝐝𝐞 studio in Sydney, and you're watching the Early Trades, a show where we share with you a glimpse of the Australian share market opening trade scene, along with the global and domestic drivers triggering the market momentum. In our first segment, we'll have a look at how the early morning trades panned out, taking cues from Wall Street action overnight. Then at the prominent newsmakers grabbing headlines during the early trade hours. After that, we'll turn our attention to the movements seen in crude oil, gold and metals indices. So to kick it off, Aussie shares opened lower today amid a mixed start to the week on Wall Street. The ASX 200 opened the day 0.6% lower, as 9 of 11 sectors have dipped along with the ASX 200. Energy is the best performing sector today. Several ASX-listed shares are scheduled to pay dividends today, namely Altium, Amcor, CDI, Coles Group and Evolution Mining. Plus, Energy One will be going ex-dividend as well. For the unaware, ex-dividend refers to a stock that's trading without the value of the next dividend payment. While the ex-dividend date is the day the stock starts trading without the next dividend payment set. And back to the market now. The top gainers of the day on the ASX pack during the opening trade are Redbubble, Mineral Resources, Beach Energy, Lynas Rare Earths and Iluka Resources. Meanwhile, the bottom performing stocks in this index are NextDC, Perseus Mining, Goldroad Resources, CSL and Blackmores. Over to Wall Street, and the Dow Jones rose 0.2% up as the S&P 500 fell 0.3% as well, and the Nasdaq Composite dropped 0.5%. On top of that, US government borrowing costs advanced for a 6-week on Monday, hurting tech stocks as investors bet on rising interest rates. 3-year high oil prices ignited the energy sector. And an easing in Sino-US tensions and the Chinese authorities' decision to pump in more cash to offset the fallout from the real estate firm Evergrande and its woes has offered encouragement to investors. There was also a relief that Germany's election outcome ruled out a pure left-wing coalition government. And oil prices have shockingly speculated that the global inflation will last longer than previously anticipated, forcing central banks to act and benefiting so-called reflation investments. These investments rise in tandem with rates. Moving on now to the second segment, let's quickly look at the highlights from prominent ASX shares during the early trade hours. Well, the first company on our radar today is Beach Energy, who plans to increase oil production to 28 million barrels by financial year 24. The increased production target would represent a 13% compound annual growth rate, and the company will also try to cut its carbon emissions by a quarter by the year 2025. The share price of Beach Energy was trading at $1.32 during the opening trade. Next up, Origin Energy. The company's 20% stake in UK-based Octopus Energy has nearly stripped to £3 billion. Origin Energy bought a fifth in Octopus Energy in May of 2020, and the latter company's valuation soared after Generation Investment Management purchased a 7% stake of Octopus for £211 million. The share price of Origin was trading at $4.71 during the opening trades. Next up, Argo Global. The management has announced a share purchase plan for shareholders, and Argo will issue new shares at a max price of $2.28 per share, representing a 5% discount to the ALI shares closing price on record date. The record date for the eligibility was the 27th of September, and the offer will open on the 1st of October later this year. The share price of Argo was trading at $2.32 during the opening trade. Meanwhile, the next company on our list is Eagle Mountain Mining, which has received firm commitments of $16 million via a well-supported placement. The company will be issuing 24.61 million new ordinary shares to institutional investors at 65 cents a share. The proceeds will be used to continue diamond drilling activities at the Talon and Golden Eagle projects. and the share price of Eagle Mountain was trading at 77 cents during the opening trade. Next up, ADX Energy entered into an agreement with Siemens Energy and Red Drilling Services GmbH to develop a small-scale demonstrator plant. The plant will utilize a closed-system CO2-based geothermal power generation technology at an existing well site. This pilot project is intended to provide the proof of concept of this alternative geothermal energy conversion tech. And with that, the share price of ADX Energy was trading at 0.0060 cents during the opening trades. Meanwhile, AVZ Minerals has received $329 million in funding from the world's biggest battery manufacturer to help develop its Manano lithium and tin mine in the Democratic Republic of Congo. With that, the share price of AVZ Minerals was trading at 35 cents during the opening trades. Now, another trend in consumer spending worth noting here is that Sydney and Melbourne peaked in online gambling at 329% above normal levels during the latest lockdowns, compared to only a 215% rise seen last year. Another industry booming during the pandemic is food delivery, which peaked at 203% above normal levels. Well, now for a look seen in the bond yields, crude oil, gold and metals indices. First with the bond yields, the 10-year Treasury yields fell to just over 1.4% from 1.461% late on Friday. In the currency space, the dollar index rose 0.146% and the euro was down 0.15%. Onto the futures and commodities space now, and oil futures have climbed as supply constraints supported commodity prices. US crude futures settled up 2%, while Brent crude futures finished up 1.8% similarly. Energy stocks like Woodside Petroleum were trading higher during the early trades, and Santos edged higher as well during the early trade hours today. Meanwhile, a strong dollar and Treasury yields curbed the gains in gold prices, as US gold futures settled mostly unchanged at just over $1,750. ASX listed gold stocks like Northern Star Resources were seen in the red, and Newcrest Mining was also trading lower during the hours of today. Lastly, Chinese iron ore futures continued to rebound for a third straight session. The benchmark iron ore futures on the Dalian Commodity Exchange finished up 3.5%. Well, with that covered, that's just about all for now in the early morning trades, but stay tuned because we have many more shows for you lined up. Holly Shields signing off.